What's going on, guys? It is ChanLives here, and today you're going to be watching me play Black Ops 3 for the first time in about 3 years, but I had to because there was this kid talking a lot of trash and challenged me to a 2v2. Let me remind you, he would not challenge me to a 1-on-1, but me and my friend actually ended up facing him. We haven't played since 2015. Let me get that out of the way also. But without that being said, today I'm going to be telling you guys about the time I have gotten robbed. So yeah, I actually got robbed when I was about 12 or 13 years old, and at the time I would always go to the local park around me. I would go there maybe 3-4 times a week and always just go play basketball. And since I go there about 3-4 times a week, I get to know all the faces that go there on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, and this time it was different, but earlier in the day I met up with my cousin and we went to McDonald's, play NBA 2K14, the best 2K game, by the way, and just chilled until we ended up deciding to go to the park and play some basketball, which was nothing new. Like I had said earlier, we go there a lot of the time. But when we actually got to the park, there was about 2 guys, maybe another one on the other side of the court, but there was 2 guys playing already who were what to look to be about 19 and 20 years old, which was nothing new. A lot of the older guys went to that park to play basketball every single day. And so after warming up for a little bit, we ended up deciding to ask them to play a 2-on-2. They agreed. We played a couple 2-on-2 games. I think we did like a 2 out of 3. I don't actually remember who won, but it was probably me and my cousin. But the longer we stayed at the park and hung out with these guys, the more closer we got, kind of. And I wouldn't really say closer, but the more we felt more comfortable around them, which was their plan. But then there was times in particular where I would feel uncomfortable and I'd be like, okay, these guys are looking sketchy, but I would tell my cousin that and he'd be like, okay, no, they're fine, nothing's gonna happen, you're just bugging. So then I started thinking, okay, maybe I am, but then there was more part of me saying no, something's actually gonna happen. So at that point I should have just left, but I just wanted to play basketball. At the time I was highly in love with basketball and played it hours and hours and hours on end every single day, whether it was the park or my house. And not to mention the fact that the entire time I was at the park, every single time I would go onto my phone, I would see the guys peering over at my screen trying to know my password. But luckily for me at the time, I had a pretty long password. I think it was about a 20 to 30 digit password, which I would be able to type in pretty quick because I had the password for a couple weeks. But that was sketchy, but I didn't really end up saying anything because, like I said, they're 19, 20 years old. I was 13, maybe 12, 13 at the time. So as time progresses, they end up getting on their bikes and asking what time it was because they're about to leave and whatnot. And as I go to check the time, I see him getting closer to me and I'm like, okay, maybe he's just looking at my phone and look at the time. It doesn't really matter, but then I tell him the time and then I start entering in my password, and as I'm entering in my password, shwoop, there goes my phone. He takes my phone, takes off on the bike, and I look at my cousin and I'm like, what should I do? I'm in full panic mode. And as I start to run towards him, he's already 10 to 15 feet away from me, but he's riding his bike on grass, so I think I can catch up to him. And I catch up to him, I'm within 3 to 4 feet, but then by the time I'm that close, he's already gaining speed and then ends up going on the sidewalk of a very main road, and I'm chasing him. I'm still chasing him, and I had a lot of stamina. At the time, I played wrestling, football, basketball, obviously basketball, and I'm chasing him, but eventually I realize I'm starting to run out of fuel, and his friend actually went the other way from the park. There was multiple exits to the park. His friend went out the other one to try to make me think oh, who has my phone? But I knew exactly who had my phone. So I end up signaling to a car, hey, he's got my phone, can you help me out? Come on now. And I realized I couldn't have done it at any worse time because there was a deli shop right there with a little alleyway into another street. So he goes up the alleyway and the car turns, obviously the car can't go through the alleyway because it's a narrow alleyway. So the car goes through the road, and this guy is not his first time stealing because he turns around in the alleyway, completely jukes out the car, and then goes right past me and down that main road we were talking about in the beginning of this story. So at this point, I'm completely drained. I start to stop and I realize my cousin's behind me, but he's talking to somebody who's in a car, which was honestly so stupid. But he goes, "Come on, this girl says she'll bring us to the police station. We'll file a report, da 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 da." And me being the dumb 12, 13-year-old self, I get into the car with this random lady. And who knows, this could have been some NCIS type shit, and this lady could have completely kidnapped us. Who knows, she could have even been in on this entire crime of robbing my phone, and then she could have kidnapped us, and then like we would have met up with these guys, and like could have ended up bad. But as we're in the car, we're talking to this lady, telling her what's happening, and she goes, "Oh, do you know, let's just say Gary. Do you know Gary from your guys' grade?" And we're like, "Yeah." She says, "That's actually my grandson." And we're like, okay, we feel a little bit more comfortable, like maybe she won't brutally kill us or kidnap us or do any crazy things that you can see in the news nowadays. But now, I'm sorry to say it, there's not anything crazy. We're now at the falling action of this story, if you guys even pay attention in English class. We're at the falling action of this story. We end up going to the police station, filing a report. The police let me call my mother. She comes and picks me and my cousin up, and it's this whole thing, and da-da-da-da-da. And as usual, the cops don't do anything about it. I'm pretty sure they literally just threw out the report and never even spoke or thought about it again, and I never found out who these guys were. I never got my phone back, and it was just terrible and tragic at the same time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, please be sure to drop a like and especially subscribe, because we're trying to hit the 1K mark by September 1st, and if we do that, it'll be insane. Oh my god. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy, even just like 0.1%, it would be appreciated if you just drop a sub. It literally takes 1 second. And yeah, enjoy me and my friends smacking these two trash talkers. I'm not gonna cut the video because I really want you guys to see this. So yeah, peace.
Oh, they were both on me.
Alright,
Down. Good shit.
oh no, over here. I tagged him a couple times.
About 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll watch water. Shit.
Cut it up.
I got HD.
Full balls.
Okay.
Don't
Oh, this
forget.
thing's so ass.
Dang, okay?
Alright.
It one damage the other in mid.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where the other dude's at though.
Baby.
Yeah.
Chris is making rice. It's going to be done in the microwave. Put it in a bowl and only use about half.
Okay.
Not per.
Bitch, where?